Alright guys, so in my brief hiatus, apparently some absolute bangers came out over the month of August and September leading into October. It's now October and we are only now getting a hold of some of these shoes. Sometimes it does take a while for them to ship and whatnot. But in hand today we have another pretty controversial shoe. If you guys saw the last video, I did a review on the Union Jordan 1s, which were a extremely contested shoe on whether people love them or hate them. I would argue that these are even more contested within the community because there's not really a consensus on the shoe. Whereas most people just hated the Unions, these Supreme Nike SBs are really hotly contested and people cannot figure out what they think about this shoe. So let's jump into the details and overall do our usual full review. So these dropped at the end of August. They were going for around $350 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I just made sure they're going for right around $350 to $360 in most sizes. And they go by the name of the Nike Supreme SB Dunk Rammellzee. So for those of you guys who don't know who Rammellzee is, he's a graffiti artist, singer and songwriter that passed away a few years back. And overall, he was a person that a lot of people looked up to. A lot of people really liked him. And he made some really cool graffiti, which is now on a lot of this shoe itself, on the front, on the side panels and whatnot. So before we jump into the details on the shoe, we are of course going to take a look at the box as we always do. So right here we got the regular Nike SB box. That's kind of unfortunate because with the Supreme collab I would really like a special package just based on how expensive they are and the fact that they are Supreme. The only special detail is that the wrapping paper does say Supreme on it. So there you go, it does say Supreme on the wrapping paper, but besides that, there's nothing distinguishing that from a regular Nike SB like the Yuto Harigome SB Dunks that we just reviewed a few videos back. Now taking a look at the shoe itself, on the lateral side, you can tell this is a very loud shoe. You got Rammellzee artist graffiti work all along the back, and then this whole panel is a black suede, which is extremely striking to the eye. The toe box has that same Rammellzee pattern. The back's got a all blacked out Nike logo, which you can barely even see, along with more artistry. And the midsole is black, which I think really throws me off on shoes in general. It's really hard to pull off a good black midsole, especially on a Nike Dunk. The bottom is like a dark gum bottom. Gum bottoms are pretty popular overall. On the inside, it does say Supreme Nike SB, as well as something that says 2023 the Rammellzee Estate. So that's like just Rammellzee, one of his naming schemes. On the laces we do have Supreme in gold, and we do have the usual Supreme world famous tag right there, as you can tell. A lot of people really like that detail, and it is a Supreme exclusive. Taking a look at the other shoe, you do have a pair of white extra laces, but you can tell that this one is different from the other one. Every single shoe is different. So if you get your pair, it might not look like the pair that I have in hand here. Like, you got this like face on the back here, which is pretty cool. I did notice that on the left pair, there is kind of a weird detail on the toe box. You got like this green and blue little stripe right there. Almost looks like a mistake, but that is just part of that graffiti element on the shoe, that no two parts of the shoe are the same, and it is always slightly different than another pair. And I always found that pretty cool on shoes as a whole. Now, in terms of quality of materials goes, I gotta say the suede right here is pretty impressive. It's very, very black suede, so it might be a little bit hard to see, but I'm gonna try and zoom in. As you can tell, I think you guys can see that. It's a pretty heavy suede. It does pick up like fingerprints, as you can see right there, and stuff of the sort. So pretty good suede. This is like a pretty stiff material and there's graffiti on the side, but that's kind of how graffiti is in general. So that makes sense in my opinion why it would be pretty stiff. It's still not as stiff as you might think it would be though. I think overall pretty good materials on the shoe. Quality control wise, I do see some issues for sure. I see some like glue stains on the sides, on the midsole and whatnot. That never really bothered me personally because once you wear the shoe, you're not gonna really notice it because the dirt will be all over the shoe, and they are shoes after all, they're meant to be worn. But a lot of people like their shoes looking real nice out of the box, so you definitely might get some quality control issues on the shoe. Sizing wise, these are size 9. I would never be able to fit in them though. If I were to get this shoe, I would get a half size up. So I'm a true size 10. I would go for a 10.5 personally, just because I don't like the feeling of having my feet being squished at the front of the shoe. But I do believe that if you got a 10 or a true size rather, you'd probably be able to fit into them, just not very easily, if you will. So both of them both have Nike on the back. No difference there. And overall, when I first saw this shoe, I thought that I was absolutely gonna trash it in the video and just dog it completely. But as I looked at it more and more, I kind of realized that it's actually kind of a cool shoe. I still don't really like the way it looks, like from a purely aesthetic perspective. I don't think it's a very aesthetic shoe, especially because of this black part. It just is too black for me with like very colorful upper. It just strikes me as weird. Like there's not even a colorful SB logo. I think if they made that SB logo like this kind of color, it would be a lot better. But since they made it black, they made all the Nike branding very black, so it's kind of like a weird shoe in terms of the looks of it, in my opinion. It would be kind of cool to see someone do a custom on the tongue and make that like the right color, and then make the laces something other than black. Maybe with the white laces I would like it more, but I still do respect the shoe. It's actually a pretty heavy shoe as well. I don't know why that is exactly, but holding it kind of makes my hand pretty tired. Like, it's definitely not a light shoe. So if you like super light shoes, this is not the dunk for you because it's got very thick materials. I would definitely recommend going a half size up on this one, especially because they might fit pretty tight. I can't try them on, unfortunately, but I'd rather be safe than sorry any day of the week. But overall, I like the shoe for what it is. It's cool looking. I just don't think it's all that pretty. It's a pretty rugged looking shoe, and I can't really see any outfit that would go with it. But if you do have the swag for it, you will be able to pull it off. And it is also very expensive. Same thing I said with the Euros. I like the shoe, but how would I ever justify it when it's the same price as something like an Off-White Dunk? Like, it's just hard with sneakers nowadays because either they're complete bricks or they're somewhat cool, but they're worth like $400. So, kind of a weird market that we're in right now if you're asking me. That's just my opinion though. I'm gonna end it off here, not to make you guys sit through too long of a video, but thank you so much for watching. As always, take care, and I'll see you all later. Peace.